Well, this is not the way I like to start any conversation. Not really what I want to say. However, I was just in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 18 days. And I would like to share the lessons I learned because there was a lot. And for being in the hospital for 18 days, there was a lot of blessings that happened. And I'm sure glad that in this instance, I am able to look at the good side of what happened and why. Because it doesn't work the other way. I've done that too long. Being a victim of it, why me? This happened for me, not to me. And I'm sure of that. So I went into the hospital thinking I had a bad UTI, and it ended up being an infection called C Diff, which is no fun at all. And it comes from taking antibiotics for a long time, which I have done with so many chronic UTIs over the years. And my gut just wasn't producing the good bacteria, so the bad bacteria took over. And C. diff is a mess. It was diarrhea for 14 days, and the way I looked at it, and the way I do look at it now, is that it wasn't just the diarrhea that I was getting rid of the C. diff. I was getting rid of years of toxins, years of trauma, ancestral trauma, karmic residue. My body released so much, and I'm very grateful for that because I need to get rid of that. So it was a challenge, of course. I went into the hospital and my white blood cell count jumped up to 28 when usually normal is 5 to 10. And when that happens, for those of you who don't know, I'm in a wheelchair, and this body was diagnosed with MS in 1998. I did very, very well for a very long time. Got a divorce about 8 years ago, and that stress and trauma really knocked me down. I was walking when I got a divorce behind a walker, and then it moved to a scooter and now to a wheelchair. And things have progressed to where this is kind of the extent of my movement. Hey, that's pretty good, actually. My right arm doesn't do a lot at the moment. My legs don't do a lot at the moment, but they're going to. They're coming back online. And when my white blood cell count jumped up that high, my body's fighting the infection, and I wasn't able to move at all. I could not move my body at all. I just laid in bed and got help from the nurses. Of course, that adds a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, a lot of worry, and I just decided early on that this is happening for me and that I really need to bring love in. I've been working a lot with opening my heart and changing old patterns of, I just really shut down. I'm learning now how much I've shut my heart down over the years. And that comes from life, right? Life is lifing. And it comes from a lot of stuff. I'm breaking that habit now, and I'm breaking those cycles that have happened. So a big, big blessing is that I couldn't use my phone a lot when I was in the hospital because I couldn't move my arms. So I would have the nurses help me, and my ex-wife and my sister had both texted me and heard that I was in the hospital and had asked how I was doing. And those are two people that I've had a very hard time with. And I decided that in order to be love, that I was going to respond to them on a daily basis. And so I recorded messages. I would have the nurses hold the button down if I needed to. And I responded every day. And I let them know how I was doing. And by doing that, I opened my heart. And by doing that, my ego also doubled down and said, what are you doing? Remember that those people hurt you, and you can't open up to them. They're going to hurt you again. That's not true. It's not true at all. That is the old story. And I am getting rid of the old story and changing that. They're not hurting me by asking how I'm doing. And so I decided to open up. And in doing that, it has built bridges. It has overcome the fear of opening my heart. It is letting love in. And since I got out of the hospital, I actually have had a really good conversation with my sister, which is huge. And I just feel like by showing up in love, that's how I want to live my life, period. I don't want to live in hatred or bitterness, and you don't heal. I don't heal in that mode. It came to me that, the ego says, I will love you when it's safe. And my soul, my higher self says, I will love you because I am love. I will love because I am love. And that's how I want to live my life. I am love. I have a great big heart, and yet I have shut her down for a while. It's time to open her back up. I also practiced when I was in the hospital, sharing love with the doctors and the nurses. Like I said, this body was diagnosed with MS in 1998, and I lived in the Western medical system for a very long time. I have taken pharmaceuticals for decades, and I've gotten off a lot of pills, which has really helped my body, has really helped my clarity, my mind, my cognition. And I have also created a belief about Western medicine that I've just kind of been anti-Western medicine. And so in the hospital, I had no choice. But I was in Western medicine. And so I decided to share love with the doctors and the nurses with the thought that they're not Western medicine. They're not the books. They're not the teachings. It is more heart to heart. And these nurses and doctors are coming in with care and love and doing a job that is very difficult to take care of me. And I had some nurses that would come in that I had judgment towards, and that doesn't help me. That doesn't help them. And so I challenged myself to change the judgment. And every time I did, something great would happen. I would have a conversation with them. They would do something that changed my opinion. And I got very, very good care while I was in the hospital. I'm extremely grateful for that. And I also, I had a lot of really dark nights. I had some really tough nights. Not being able to move. I am in a wheelchair, a power chair that lays back and reclines, and I sleep in my chair. I've been sleeping in my chair for years because I have a hard time transferring into bed, and I don't like being in bed because I can't move. So when I'm in my chair, I have more control. When I was in the hospital bed, I didn't have any control. And I believe now that the universe put me in that hospital bed to say, listen, here it is. You've been asking for this. You've been asking for change, and here it is. Are you going to step into it? Are you going to live up to what you've said you're going to be? And I did, and I am, and it feels weird. It feels weird because it's change, and it's different than the patterns and habits, the addiction I've had to the survival chemicals for so long. And man, my ego, sometimes I say the devil sneaks in. And what I mean by that is those negative thoughts, they just find the cracks and they come in. And I was having negative thoughts in the hospital about stuff that is so irrelevant to my journey right now. It's stuff that happened decades ago that have nothing to do with me anymore. They have nothing to do with the people that the story was about. It's just my ego or the devil sneaking in and trying to get those chemicals to flow again, trying to get those survival chemicals. And man, it knows the tricks. It knows what it's going to take to get me feeling that way again. So one night I just yelled. I yelled, "Fuck you, devil. Get the fuck out of here." And I had to use my voice to get out of my head. And I tried to do Dr. Joe meditations while I was in the hospital, And I was able to do a couple. I was able to do a couple changing boxes, a couple Botex. But then I realized I was meditating the whole time. I was meditating when the doctors were in the room, when the nurses were in the room. I was making sure that I changed my personality, how I think, how I act, and how I feel. I was doing it daily. I was doing it moment by moment. And that was critical in order to keep the energy where it needed to be for me to get better and to propel myself in a spiritual sense, because this happened for me. And so I decided to take that on as a challenge to do the best I can. And like I said, there's a lot of blessings that happened. Unexpected blessings. While I was in the hospital, I got to work with my insurance case managers, and they were helping me find caregivers at home. I was really worried about having to take care of myself when I got home for a bunch of different reasons. And I have a living caregiver with me now, and she wasn't going to be here for a while. She had some things that she had to take care of. So I had to find a caregiver, and it didn't work. I got out of the hospital, and I called 12 different agencies, and they couldn't help me for various reasons. And then I found one that could help me. I called them. They showed up the next day, said they could help me. Then the following day said they couldn't help me. And I advocated for myself. I advocated for myself in the hospital with all the doctors, with the nurses. I could feel what I need to take care of myself, and I wasn't taking anything less than that. And that's a change. That is a big change. I spoke up. And so when that agency told me they weren't able to help me, I spoke up and I said, I've got to get your help. You told me you could help me. I need you. And so it came through. They came through, and they sent me a caregiver by the name of Perla. She's magic. She is magic. She is the answer to so many prayers. She is so heartfelt. She's got healing hands, and she's been able to massage my muscles as I lay in my chair in a way that is opening me up in beautiful, beautiful ways. I also, because I was working with the Kaiser case managers, Kaiser is my insurance, I was able to get physical therapy or occupational therapy in my house. And that's helping me get my strength back. And I've been in the Western medicine model, I've been in the insurance model, and they both suck. They're broken. And so insurance is broken in so many ways. However, I'm extremely grateful for the people that have come to me. The occupational therapist I have is helping me so much. And she hears me. I'm advocating, saying, because of insurance, because of the way they look at things, that if I'm not progressing, if I'm not making progress, then they're not going to help me. And I've ended up losing because of that for years. I lose my function in different ways. So I'm advocating for me. And that has been a huge blessing, both in the hospital and since I've been out. And love opening up my heart. And that's been a huge change for me. I never wanted to go to the hospital. And never, of course, who does? And I've been working with the guy who's an astrologer. And he told me, he's just very intuitive. And before I was in the hospital, 3 weeks before, he said, your healing is going to happen while you're in the hospital. Excuse me. He didn't say that. He said, your healing is going to happen while you're in bed. And I haven't gotten in my bed very often over the years. So I'm like, shoot, how am I going to do that? How am I going to get into bed? And the universe put me in bed for 18 days. And there was so much healing. And it's no coincidence that I was in the hospital during Easter. And that is a sign of rebirth, of revitalization, of I love Jesus, and I have a great relationship with him and all that he was here to do, and showing us that that we are the power within us, and that's what I believe. And to be there over Easter just meant so much to me on so many different levels. My journey right now is a lot about getting over ego and being love. Those are the things that are very important right now. And again, not a conversation that I want to say about I was in the hospital, but it was to my benefit in so many ways. And I choose that. I choose for it to be to my benefit. And another big aspect of this is while I was in the hospital, I wasn't able to connect with my community. And I have an amazing active meditation group called Dot Connectors that we connect dots, and we help each other all the time. And I wasn't able to communicate with them, and I just really miss that. As I get out, I've reconnected, and I feel the energy again, and just how important that is, how important the energy is of connection, of positive thought, of sharing, of caring, of all these things that I was doing in the hospital for me. And then I come out and remember that it's all around me all the time, and that love is all around me all the time. And, in this work with Dr. Joe, it's being about change and transformation. And I'm changing in such big ways right now. And it feels weird because it's unfamiliar. The normal is to be stressed out, worried, and poor me. That's the old pattern. So the new is to love myself and to know that everything is happening, and really trust. I had to trust the doctors. I had to trust the nurses. I couldn't move in the hospital. It was all about trust and trusting the process. I met Dr. Joe in Niagara Falls in 2022, and he said so many things to me, but the biggest thing I remember is notice the small things. And there were so many small things that happened during the hospital visit. It's not going to be a big bang all the time that gets you to the next level. And it's noticing those small things that I was manifesting, I was creating as I was in this situation. And my energy is coming back. My strength is coming back. And I know I'm going to get bigger, faster, stronger than I was before. That's the key. And my meditations are coming back online really, really well. I just wanted to share this with you all. I haven't posted a video for quite a while. And to be honest, my voice has been kind of wobbly lately, but it feels better today. And so, I just wanted to share the lessons and the love. And that really is the key that I continue to step into. So with that, love to you all.